Thank you. Thank you, Stan, for such warm welcome. Yes, and such nice information about eBay. So yes, I'm Maxim. I'm from eBay. Before we go to our topic, to how to sell to export to international companies, I would like to give you a brief idea of what eBay is, right? So eBay is a marketplace, you know it, right? But what is important, and I had these conversations today with some of you in this hall, that eBay is not competing with sellers. eBay is a place where buyers and sellers meet each other, and our main task, our main target, is to generate trust that will make transaction happen. That's it. Then the buyer has to pay, then the seller has to provide service to ship the item, and so on and so forth. Why I'm there? I'm 5 years on eBay, and almost half of this time is devoted to sellers in emerging markets. In markets like here in Estonia, in Latvia, Lithuania, Eastern Europe, even in Africa, right? And the idea is that during these couple of years, export and selling to the world become kind of routine for myself. Yes, I know there's some good things, there are some bad things, just routine, yeah? And when I'm talking to different people in different countries, I understand that for many sellers and many businesses, export is not that easy. It's something that perceived as complex, as unclear, the benefits are not here, and so on and so forth. And my target today is to tell all of you that export exists in this country and the countries in Baltics, in Eastern Europe, and many others. It works for many sellers, and it's not that complex as someone might imagine. Okay? So 3 main things that I want to deliver today is first, that growth of export is a huge opportunity. We will see some numbers, right? Second thing, what are the sources of this growth? If we're looking into specifically Baltics markets, into specifically Eastern European markets, here and there, not something that happening somewhere in the United States, in Asia, or somewhere, right? And finally, quickly, what we in eBay do for the sellers such as you here in Estonia or in Baltic countries so that it could happen a little quicker, a little simpler, a little easier than you might imagine. Okay? Sounds like a good plan? Just for me to understand, who of you live here in Estonia? Please raise your hands. Okay. Who live in Latvia, Lithuania, in other Baltic countries? Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so Estonia dominate audience. Okay, thank you. So, let's go. First, sources of growth. There are lots of interesting numbers about eBay, lots of money, 23 billion GMV, which means actually revenue turnover for our sellers. The most important in these numbers is that more than half of these numbers, of this money, is being generated out of the United States by the cross-border trade. So when some seller from one country is selling to the buyer in another. Yes, so that's reality that we face, and we see that cross-border and export is growing, and it became already, at least for eBay, not a small company, a main generator of income, right? This export is especially cool here in emerging markets in Eastern Europe and in Baltics. Some guys even think that in the next 3 years, the amount of revenue generated by export from these countries will go 3 times more, which is just crazy. I don't know how much truth is this or not, but what I know is that export from Eastern Europe is growing at least almost 20% year on year, which quite not a bad number, you know. And what we as eBay can give us exporters is 170 million buyers all over the world, from the United States to Germany, United Kingdom, Asia Pacific region, Australia, any other countries, yes, that actually purchase each year something on eBay, and some of them even purchase each day, yes, and the only task that you have is to make your items present for them, to give them the opportunity to purchase it. That's it, right? Some other fun facts that give you an idea about how velocity looks on eBay. right? Every 6 seconds, a dress is being sold on eBay. Yeah. Each 19 seconds, a Lego board or Lego toy or whatever is being sold on eBay in United Kingdom. Then each 5 minutes in Germany is being sold a car like this, or even bigger or maybe smaller. Yes. And finally, which is even more important, that in Australia, each minute a pair of sunglasses is being sold, right? Obviously, Australia is a country that maybe needs sunglasses a bit more than here in Estonia or in Russia. Some facts about Baltics, about Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, what is happening here, right? Each minute, a car part or accessory is being sold out of these 3 countries. Yes, relatively small in terms of size, relatively far away from different countries, but still each minute these transactions, specifically in the P&A segment, parts and accessories, happens, right? Each 4 minutes, phone case is being sold. Each 5 minutes, an art object. Each 6 minutes, a pair of jeans, yes? So it may be doubtful that jeans should have produced somewhere far away, but still a lot of them being sold from Baltics. So what we have at the end of the day, that export is here and lots of sellers are already benefiting it, right? It is here. Then for sources of growth, how could you try it? How could you generate some money out of it, right? So if we look at the Eastern Europe, so we take Baltics, we take countries like Romania, Hungary, Czech Republic, and so on, we could look at the categories, right? At the main categories that they have been selling their items. And the category number 1, and today the speakers were talking a lot about it, is fashion. Yeah? And why fashion? Because if you want to buy something, yes, if you want to buy some item, you have limited exposure, limited number of these items here in your store nearby. But in the world, you will most likely have any kind of item that you wish. That's why people go for export-import for fashion items, and that's why it's so trendy. And it's the same in Eastern Europe. Then category number 2 is collectibles, which historically, of course, were dominant for eBay. But why, again, it's so popular and it's keep growing? Because if you have something unique, if you produce something that is not produced in other countries, most likely people will buy it from you just because no one except you has it, right? That's it. That's why collectibles are so growing. Then we have home and garden, which applies to different things like small furniture, like these lamps, like kitchenry, and so on. We have, of course, electronics, which have different components, or sometimes even biggest things like equipment, and so on. And, of course, the category that I mentioned, parts of accessories, that may not be the leader, but still is kind of most frequent in Baltics, specifically in this market. Yes, so these are the main categories. And the second thing about it, even the more important than categories, is that export from Eastern Europe is being sold to more than 140 countries. And I would like to say that this is not just some number that we take from the head and tell you just because it's very nice. Yes, there are real sellers who within 1 year sell items to customers from 140 countries, starting from United States, of course, starting from United Kingdom, starting from Germany, but then coming to different countries everywhere in the world: Japan, Latin America, South Korea, Australia, and so on and so forth. The main lesson that we make out of it is that the demand for the item sometimes is absolutely unexpected for us. Yeah, we think that, okay, we sell something just to the bigger countries and that's it. In reality, it appears that, you look at the stats, you look at the watchers, you look at your buyers, and you understand that you have an unexpected demand from Chile, so from Colombia. And it works, and you earn your money. Right? And just to give you, again, an example of what is sold where, let's just look at the case study, right? So we have 3 countries here: Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, the Baltics. Yes, and we have 4 countries just nearby, Nordics or Scandinavia: Finland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway. So let's just look at the low-level categories, almost the exact items that are being sold from Baltics into Nordics. Yes, And what we see here, yes, we see some categories related to parts and accessories of cars, right? This is car exterior, car interior, different electronic components, socks, yes, maybe not so expected category, but when we look into these numbers, these are really great because these are top categories for this very corridor, from Baltics into Scandinavia. So the idea is that looking at these stats and looking at these opportunities, almost each seller can find his or her niche within eBay marketplace. And there are some examples of real items that are now on sale on eBay from Eastern European countries, like these items from Latvia, new electronics, yeah, jewelry, home and garden, different equipment for your home, even this orthopedic clothes, photo equipment, special, custom phone cases, of course, one of the, I think, most popular categories in the world from different countries and different sellers. Slovakia, parts and accessories are here. Musical instruments, again, from Slovakia, very nice, violin. Home and garden from Greece, furniture. So these are even sellers who sell big, bulky items like furniture on eBay, and these are from Greek, very nice seller. Jewelry from Russia, fashion items from Romania, games, I would better even call it craft or art from Russia. Lifestyle items, some bicycle parts and even full bicycles from Hungary. Again, some craft from Russia. Okay, so basically the idea is that lots of categories, lots of countries, and the only main thing we're going to take from it is that we should not limit the demand. And it exists, and the only thing that is needed is to offer this demand to 170 million buyers that are ready to buy it and ready to purchase it. And here we come to the most important question, how we do it, right? Very nice, and again, I return to the beginning of my speech when I mentioned lots of guys that I met and told me that, okay, export is complex, we need to do lots of stuff, lots of paperwork, it doesn't work, Let's look into how it could work. Yes, we do it at eBay, yeah, and probably the other guys try to do it also, yeah, but let me show what we are doing. So basically, to start selling, you do not even need to be a business, right? If you want, you can register as a company on eBay, yes? If you do not want, you can be a private person. That, in the end of the day, doesn't matter, and when a buyer is purchasing something, and typically it happens, very fast, he looks at the item, he looks at the delivery, but at the end of that doesn't care about registration, right? So the first step, you just register a simple eBay account like you do it on Facebook or Google, yes? The second step, eBay is partnering with PayPal. PayPal is a payment intermediator or payment facilitator, better to say, that actually enables flow of money coming from buyers to you. That's why you need a PayPal account. Again, if you plan just to start selling, you register here as you do it in the email service or as you do it in the social network. Yeah. Obviously, if you want to start selling with millions, then PayPal will obviously ask some more questions about what kind of business you have and so on. But again, it's a procedure not more complex than when you have relations with your bank. That's it. And finally, when you have these two accounts, all you need is listing your items. Tell your buyers that, okay, I have this item, that's the photo, that's okay, its characteristics, attributes, please buy it. That's it. 3 simple steps that you need to export. This is actually enough for a buyer to make transaction, to come to the site, to see your item, and then to purchase it from you. Obviously, after the item is bought, you will need to ship it, yeah, but it will happen after the transaction, and again, you saw it today, and I think you know it better than me, lots of logistics partners here to talk to them and to make it happen. For example, if we're talking about Russian sellers, basically you come to any Russian post branch and then it's been delivered to any country in the world. I believe all the same is in Estonia, in Latvia, in any country, right? 3 simple steps. And to talk more on that, we even decided to simplify the export as it is. a bit more, right? For that, we on eBay developed a kind of mini site specifically for exporters from emerging markets. Yeah, and this site does three things. Yes, that when we are talking to the sellers, appeared to be most important. So first, localized front support so that we could answer your questions, we could talk to the customers in their native language. And currently we're supporting 10 of them. The most important language in the Eastern Europe, like language for Baltics, again, Latvian, Lithuanian, Bulgarian, Hungarian, and so on. Second thing, we help translating items, because not all of you obviously can list items in the language, in German, in English, in French equally, right? And third, what we do, we help promoting your items for the buyers in different countries. Yeah, so basically we give you some opportunity to show your items more and to promote it for specific buyers in specific countries. That's it. So, and basically that's it. Yeah, that's all the message that I wanted to tell you today. So first, export is here, is in the Eastern Europe, it's in Baltics, lots of money here, 170 million buyers at least at eBay, so your items are wanted. Second, Eastern Europe, and specifically Baltic countries here, are demanded. Buyers are ready to buy, buyers are ready to spend money on it. Yeah, and finally, to start sell, you need just create 2 accounts and these 2 items. And even for that, we have a help for you. We created a special site for exporters from these very countries. And again, we are ready to listen to you if any other unclear points remain here. Yeah. And to conclude this topic, please remember, eBay is a partner for you, partner for sellers, partner for logistic companies, by the way. And all we need and all we try to do is to make transaction between buyer and seller happen in due time and with minimum risk. Basically, that's what I wanted to say. The only thing I wanted to add is that we are partner for seller, but also we are partner for logistic companies. So if we have here, or if we have partners here in Baltics or Eastern Europe, countries that want to partner with us and help our sellers deliver items to the buyers worldwide, we are very open to discuss it and to make kind of partnership that at the end makes success for sellers and buyers. Thank you. That's it.
Okay, that sounded super simple. So what are like some of the typical mistakes that the sellers do, what you have seen? You know, something, word of advice maybe for anybody who thinks about actually using this kind of sales channel?
I believe the main mistake is not doing export, obviously. Yeah, because if you stay on some of the stages, if you think that it's complex, I believe it's the main thing. Yes, if you start, then you will learn. If you learn, that you will make it better. I believe that's the main thing, right? If to speak about real sellers at real eBay, I believe the most important thing is trust, and what is inherited from trust is communication. Yeah, the idea is that on each stage of relation with the buyer, whether it just he or she asks about your item or asks about discount, or then you send your item, you should be communicating with the buyer. You should be telling him, okay, I'm sending this item. Okay, this item is out of stock. I will replace it with another. Okay, do you have any problem or are you okay with what you've purchased? Then please, again, rate me high. So on each stage, you should be communicating. Yes, and I believe the main mistake that happens for existing exporters is that when they sold the item, they think that, okay, we are fine, we won't be communicating, we forget about buyer. That's not a good thing, because what we know from our stats is that if you communicate good with the buyer, then they return. And lots of buyers on eBay, what they do, they bookmark sellers where they had nice transactions with no faults and with nice communication, and they buy again first from them. So I believe communication and lack of this is a typical mistake, if you ask.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? Anything you want to ask?
Well, I'm from the audience. So I do have questions also. One thing is about marketing or promotion on eBay, because how many items are there available?
About 2 billion.
2 billion. So if
A
my
bit
item
more.
is there also, how to stand out?
Yeah, it's quite easy, and it's actually available to Eastern European sellers as well. So what you do when you list your item, you just list it and you wait for it to appear in search. But if you want to promote it, and that's what was recently announced for the sellers all over the world, is that you can put a kind of bid, pay additional fee when the item will be sold, not before it, just when it's sold. And in return for this, your item will be placed in a special advertising places, not in the search, but in the special advertising places, where it will be visible for more buyers. So basically, this is the way, maybe similar to Google AdWords, or similar to Facebook ads, how you can invest more into promotions and return have more buyers, more transactions, more revenue, and that's it.
But is it common that sellers also buy additional advertising, let's say from Google or Facebook? So, for example, if I'm selling my socks, like you said, socks is one of the most popular. Okay, I want to sell socks to Australia, so I would buy a Facebook ad or Google ad to advertise my socks. Is that a common way to do it? Because it can be quite expensive. So
it's normal way to do it, so you're allowed to do it if you want. But our way is that you advertise these very socks for eBay users inside eBay. Yes, so this is advertising for more audience within eBay, for them to see your.
But how are your prices compared to the prices of Facebook? Are you also charging per click or per?
No, you pay only when the item sells.
Okay, so it's performance based.
Absolutely.
Okay, and how much would it approximately cost? Let's say if I want to advertise my socks. The pair of socks would cost, because they are really premium, you know, I handmade them, both, the sock number 1 and sock number 2, both are handmade. I charge like 10
hopefully
euros.
sell them together, yeah?
No, I can, you know, for a one-legged person I would sell only one. But yeah, 10 euros, how much would be the advertising approximately?
So this is kind of auction. Yes, you place your bid and you get impressions. Yeah, but basically the typical bids are several percent from the cost of your item. So in this case, it will be, let's say, if 10 euros, then it will be less than €1.
Okay, what about targeting? So those, let's use these socks as an example. Can I like target the whole world, or can I target individual, I don't know, territories, cities, regions? How does that work?
It's your choice. Basically, it's been set up when you're listing your item. So if you list your item for the United States buyers, then it will be promoted for United States buyers. If you list it to 140 countries, as we've mentioned, then obviously 140 countries population will see your item, will be able to buy.
What about the analytics? Am I able to see how many people, for example, visited or looked at my offer? And let's say how long time they spent on researching my socks, or you know like you do with the website. You from Google Analytics you get information about the behavior of users.
You know, our target is not duplicating Google Analytics or something of such nice software, yeah, but we give you basics. So what are the transactions, what are the audience, and what are the real bits that you spent. So the basic information that that enables you to make decisions and to make promotions at the cost that you want, right? But given that we've just launched it, we're looking at the audience, we're talking to people, and obviously we're considering this feedback to have more analytical options.
What about retargeting, remarketing options? If I want my socks to, like, that they would follow the person who once saw them forever, like, you know, not forever, but for weeks on every website he or she visits?
Not quite. So we are talking about advertising on eBay. Okay. Yeah, eBay as a marketplace, we do marketing
it's a closed system in that sense. So for example, if I want my socks to follow the user on Facebook, it's not possible via your site.
No, yes, it's Facebook, yes. Facebook is Facebook, eBay is eBay, it's different ecosystems.
Okay.
I think companies that have already developed their brand are often like concerned about the brand experience, and so
brand.
Yeah. So if they just sell their stuff on your site, then the question might come up like, you know, can I actually ensure the brand experience, or is it like is there some way to kind of customize the way that I can show my product and so on?
So first of all, eBay is a very simple thing, right? eBay is designed to sell the items that been listed on it. Yeah, obviously we work on design, we work on marketing, all this stuff, but we make transaction happen. That's it. For brands, we have special people and special departments that work specifically with brands. Yeah, for example, we had nice deals with Saturn in Germany, with Sony in the United States, and many more, right? What they can do and what we typically do, we do some kind of nurtured experience specifically for brands, but these are, I believe, not self-service and not small, medium business. So these are kind of big deals. But no, it's possible. So it happens. Yeah.
We have a question from the audience. Could you please advise how can Chinese sellers provide free shipping for almost any item and any value of the item, even if the value is less than €1? How can this be profitable?
Well, first of all, I won't be responding for any Chinese seller, right? It's kind of won't be possible. But what I can tell is that shipping, for example, from China is not that costly. Yes, so the prices are really nice, and logistics from China, I believe, working is one of the best in the world, right? The other thing is that free shipping, in fact, is kind of marketing approach. Free shipping is not just, that they really receive zero in their shipping cost. Yes, it's just an opportunity to catch their audience, to catch the eye of the audience, because okay, shipping is free, then I do not care. Yes, that's it. And what Chinese sellers do, and what US sellers do, and what Eastern European sellers do as well, and we recommend them doing so, is that they put free shipping for the majority of their items, and then there can be different business models behind that. Yes, for example, someone might be promoting their items and making them popular, because the more popular and the more bought items are most likely to sell the next time, right? Or maybe in some cases they just put the shipping cost into the item. Maybe they just want to, sell some items and see how it goes. Yes, and then devote different pricing strategies. So there are multiple things here. Yes, but two key issues. So first, shipping from China is really cheap. And second, that free shipping is one of the key strategies for promoting your items on eBay, and not only on eBay, as you might know.
I do have several more questions, but before I'm asking them, there is a message to the audience. You do have these green sheets, the feedback forms. So could you please fill them out? And our people then collect them, and then one of you also will get this nice chocolate we'll be giving out to all the speakers, so you can feel yourself as if you were a speaker today. You have the same chocolate. But we continue grilling you with questions. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
What if, I told you about my sock business, but I have another business. I'm making food products like jam, and also I have bees, so I produce honey. So these examples, why I give, these are not like fresh food products. These are food products with quite a long shelf life, 1 year at least. Is it possible to sell such kind of food items, food products on eBay as well? Do you have any specific regulations, or who is actually taking responsibility if, let's say, my jam, I don't know, goes bad, it doesn't taste good? How does that work exactly?
The rule is very simple, yes. So the best judge is always buyer, right? At the end of each transaction, buyer can provide feedback that directly impacts the results of the seller in the next period, right? And also such, I would say, simple things, right? That the item arrived in time, which can be seen by tracking number, and that the money from the buyer reached the seller. That's it. And to talk about this specific example, what should happen is that if a buyer receives an item that is not in due condition, the condition that seller described in an item description, then he can claim, and obviously if the claim is valid, then he will be refunded. That's it. So and each buyer is eligible for this upon each transaction, and that's the way how it works for, I believe, many marketplaces. And eBay, I believe, was one of the first marketplaces that implemented this feedback system, that in the end of the day impacts the decision of the customer, whether this seller is reliable or not so good.
What if the seller thinks that the feedback is not fair? I mean, the customer is just crazy.
There are such customers. It's big numbers. So basically,
Yeah, or if the competitor is just hostile.
We have some people that didn't with it. We have a kind of 22 years history of settling such problems. Obviously, I won't tell you what exactly they do, but they have lots of opportunities. And at the end of the day, their claim that is not valid can be appealed. That's it.
You were talking about cross-border trade. What about trade within one country? Let's say if I want to sell my socks to Estonian customers, would eBay be a good platform for that as well?
Yes, and it happens. It happens in each country. So we have some part of export and import, and we have some part of domestic. The thing is that export or CBT is growing fast, and this is the trend. Yes, this is more opportunity when you're selling from countries like Estonia or Latvia. Yes, because the whole world is much bigger, and they just have more audience and more money.
Okay, do we have more questions? How do you make sure all listings are legal and compliant, like e-cigarettes as an example?
No, the first part of this answer is that obviously we are not able to read each listing. Yeah, but the other part is that we have signals from users, we have some other signals, and again there are some special guys that take care of such issues.
Okay, any more questions? Art, do you have some?
Do you have issues often with the sellers who are somehow not able to use PayPal account? Either PayPal refuses to serve them, something like that. Can that happen in this region?
What do you mean? So if you want to sell and you have just a way to receive money, then you probably should try receiving it. Yes, if you have an issue with PayPal.
No, I mean, would PayPal refuse to open account for some sellers? You know, for whatever risk management reasons or something like that.
If it happens, then there should be a valid reason behind that.
Actually, I have a case study about that. I have a friend who's Greek. He lives in Greece, and he opened an Estonian company. He became an e-resident of Estonia and opened a company in Estonia. And he tried to open a PayPal account from Greece, like he was physically in Greece. And he tried to open PayPal account for that Estonian company, and PayPal refused. So basically, it said that you have to be physically in the same country where you want to open the account. So I suggested him to use VPN. I don't know if that's legal, but it happened. So the PayPal, has issues.
Everyone has issues. The PayPal is a company that serves at least these 170 million customers. So they may have issues, and each question should be raised individually. I can't comment for PayPal because we are two separate companies.
Sure.
But so if you're selling across the world, you can list your prices in different currencies, right?
Yeah.
Do these prices have to be like uniform, or you can just like discriminate China if you want? I mean, just a random example.
It's your choice. It's your choice. Yes. So eBay is one of the most open platforms here. So you decide what's your pricing strategy, what's your shipping strategy, what's your promotional strategy, and so on.
You can do it like Apple. You list the same computer for $1,000 in the US and 1,000 euros in Europe.
That's what's happened globally, yes?
Yeah. Okay, we need those feedback forms now, I guess, because we ran out of the questions. Okay, maybe still more?
We have two experienced eBay users here,
Yeah. Okay, so now it's time to give you this famous chocolate. It's really good.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you, and I hope you will see a lot of customers coming from the Baltic countries to you soon. So good luck with that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And thanks all of that.